Tonight, we're diving into 4 mysteries that authorities wish you would forget. Cases wrapped in silence, sealed documents, missing evidence, and answers buried under decades of confusion. From a woman whose death may have involved 2 governments, to the mysterious lights seen during the Titanic's final moments, to one of the most brutal unsolved massacres in France, and finally, a secret telegram that should have changed history, but never did. So sit back, turn off the lights, and let's begin. The suspicious death of Annie Borgeson. Our first story begins on a cold Scottish beach in December 2005. A man walking along Prestwick Beach spots something in the sand, the body of a young woman washed up by the waves. Police arrive and within minutes declare it a suicide by drowning. Case closed, or so they said. The woman was 30-year-old Annie Borgeson, a Swedish national working in the hospitality industry in Edinburgh. But when her body was returned to Sweden, undertakers discovered something deeply troubling. Bruising on her head and neck, markings never documented by Scottish authorities. Other injuries were left out of the official report entirely. And that's only the beginning. On the day she died, Annie was seen on CCTV entering the Prestwick Airport terminal, but she never checked in for her flight. 5 minutes later, she walked out and vanished. Her belongings, passport, wallet, books, were found neatly placed beside her on the beach. Too neat, her family said, too deliberate. When the Borgeson family requested tissue samples that could confirm the cause of death, Scottish authorities refused. When they checked Annie's emails and phone records, every message had been deleted. Even people who had texted her said their devices no longer showed any communication with her. Something or someone erased it all. Desperate, the family turned to the Swedish Foreign Ministry. They did provide documents, but every single page was classified secret. Officials warned that releasing them could harm national interests. National interests? For a hospitality worker? Unless, of course, she wasn't just a hospitality worker. Unless she was involved with something or someone she shouldn't have been. To this day, neither Sweden nor Scotland will release what they know. And the question remains, who was Annie Borgeson, and why did 2 governments bury her truth?
The mystery lights seen during the Titanic disaster. April 14, 1912. The Titanic is sinking. Passengers shiver in lifeboats, drifting in the freezing Atlantic. And then, lights. Multiple survivors, officers, and crew report a ship on the horizon, 5 miles away, moving toward them. The lights were so clear that they were even logged in the official investigations. But no ship ever arrived. More than 1,000 people died before the Carpathia reached the disaster site 2 hours after the Titanic vanished beneath the waves. So what did everyone see? 3 ships are possible. The Samson, a whaling vessel allegedly smuggling illegal seal meat. A first officer later claimed on his deathbed that the Samson saw Titanic's flares, but fled to avoid being caught breaking the law. It would explain everything, except for one problem. Port records show the Samson was docked in Iceland the entire time. The SS Mount Temple. They did receive Titanic's SOS. They tried to reach them, but walls of icebergs blocked their path. The crew saw rockets in the distance, but they were from the Carpathia, not the Titanic. By the time they reached the coordinates, there was nothing left. And finally, the SS Californian, the most infamous possibility. The Californian was so close that crew members saw a massive ship firing rockets, saw its lights flicker and die as the Titanic filled with water, even tried signaling it with a Morse lamp. But they never radioed them. The operator had turned off the radio earlier after being told to shut up by Titanic's operator and went to sleep. By sunrise, it was too late. The Californian arrived only after the Carpathia ordered them to help search for survivors. Whether the lights belonged to the Samson, the Mount Temple, or the Californian, one truth remains. Someone saw Titanic's distress and didn't come.
Unsolved massacre at Lake Annecy. This is one of Europe's most unsettling modern mysteries, a slaughter so precise and ruthless that investigators still can't agree on why it happened. On September 5, 2012, the Al-Hili family, Saad, his wife Iqbal, their two young daughters, and Iqbal's elderly mother were vacationing in the French Alps. That day, they drove into a remote forested road near Lake Annecy. It wasn't a scenic route. It wasn't a tourist spot. It was isolated, narrow, and eerily quiet. At around 4 p.m., a cyclist passing through the area heard what he thought were firecrackers. They were gunshots, 25 of them. The shooter worked with chilling precision. 3 bullets into each adult, including the grandmother. A second cyclist, Sylvain Mollier, was also killed, possibly just for being a witness. The 2 children survived only by luck. 7-year-old Zainab, shot and beaten, somehow clung to life. 4-year-old Zina hid under her mother's legs for hours, silent and terrified until police arrived. Theories exploded immediately. Was Saad targeted because of his family's conflict with Saddam Hussein's regime decades earlier? Did his aerospace engineering work put him on someone's list? Or was this the work of a mentally unstable local shooter? The weapon offered another twist, a vintage Luger P06 pistol from pre-World War II, not a common assassin's tool. Not a gun you'd expect in a modern contract killing. Years passed. Leads dried up. No one has ever been arrested, no motive confirmed, no confession, no trail, nothing but a scene so brutal and so expertly executed that many believe the truth lies far outside the ability of a lone killer. More than a decade later, the question lingers like a cold echo in the valley. Was this a targeted hit or a nightmare of pure coincidence?
The vanishing of the Bell sisters. Rosalind and Fauna Bell left their home in Bethany, Oklahoma on a warm July afternoon in 1985. Nothing about that day felt alarming. Rosalind mentioned she was heading out to look for a job. Fauna followed without question. Their brother remembered hearing one of them say, "Hurry up, they're waiting for us down the street." That single sentence became the last clue, the last piece of normalcy before their lives simply stopped. Police initially believed there was no evidence of foul play, but the sisters were known for hitchhiking, a dangerous yet strangely common habit in the 80s. Investigators briefly considered a serial killer known for abducting girls in pairs, but he was already in custody at the time. Another chilling lead came from the sisters' half-sister, who claimed their father once kidnapped and abused his own children decades earlier. Yet despite these accusations, he was never considered a suspect. Years turned into decades. No letters, no sightings, no bodies. Just theories that faded like dust. Did they run away, accept a ride from the wrong stranger, or did someone in their own family hold a darker secret? Today, the case remains frozen in time, a quiet, unbearable void, where 2 sisters vanished into thin air, leaving behind only questions no one has been able to answer. The vanishing of the lifeboat of the North Atlantic. On May 13, 1912, a vague shape drifting through the cold Atlantic caught the attention of the RMS Oceanic. A small cutter was lowered, and as the crew drew closer, curiosity turned to horror. Inside the drifting lifeboat were 3 frozen corpses and a single wedding ring placed carefully in the center, as if someone had wanted it to be found. Documents identified one man, Thomas Beatty, a first-class passenger who had climbed onto Titanic's collapsible lifeboat A
during the ship's final minutes. As water swallowed the decks, dozens clung to the makeshift raft, battered by waves and freezing wind. Some died within hours. The survivors, desperate to stay afloat, began pushing bodies overboard, a grim, heartbreaking choice forced on them by the cold. Among the last to perish was Edward Lindell, whose wife Gerda had slipped from the lifeboat and drowned right before his eyes. Wooden with shock, he held her wedding ring until the moment he froze to death. When rescuers arrived the next morning, they saved a handful of survivors. But Thomas Beatty, 2 stokers, and Edward's ring remained on the boat, drifting alone for a month across the Atlantic. When the Oceanic found him, the lifeboat had become a floating tomb, a silent witness to the horror of that night. Even after the Titanic disappeared beneath the waves, its final tragedies kept resurfacing, carried by currents, untouched by time, and forever reminding the world of the lives it stole.
The Lost Telegram. In the chaotic weeks after the Titanic sank, White Star Line executive Philip Franklin swore before Congress that he had received no warning, no message, no hint that the Titanic was in mortal danger. According to him, the company only learned the truth when survivors reached New York. But decades later, an envelope surfaced, weathered, faded, and carrying a message so explosive it shook the foundations of the official narrative. Inside was a telegram sent directly from the Titanic as it was sinking, urgently informing White Star headquarters that the situation was dire and the ship was going down. Experts authenticated everything: the typeface, the ink, the paper stock, the official identifiers. It wasn't a replica. It wasn't a rumor. It was real. Which forces the question, did Franklin lie under oath? If he received the telegram, why deny it when nothing could have changed the outcome? Was he protecting the company from lawsuits, financial collapse, or reputational ruin? And if he didn't receive it, then who intercepted it? And why would such a crucial message disappear for more than 70 years? The existence of this telegram suggests a hidden chain of communication inside White Star Line, possibly involving employees who chose silence over transparency. It also raises the eerie possibility that decisions were made behind closed doors while the world was kept in the dark. The Titanic may have sunk in 1912, but the truth behind its final messages is still surfacing, and every new revelation makes the official story look even less complete. Which one do you think hides the darkest truth? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoy deep dive mysteries like these, hit subscribe because we're only just getting started. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, some mysteries don't stay buried forever.